Gary Taubes, Why We Get Fat, and What to Do About It. Embark on an insightful journey into the world of weight gain, its causes, and effective solutions with Gary Taubes' book, Why We Get Fat, and What to Do About It. This eye-opening work debunks the long-standing myths surrounding obesity and offers groundbreaking revelations about the role of carbohydrates in our bodies. Through a mix of scientific evidence and practical suggestions, the book lays bare the fact that it's not the quantity of food we eat, but the quality that determines our weight. Discover the true culprits behind obesity and learn effective ways to tackle weight issues by reevaluating dietary habits.
The flawed logic of obesity. In the 1950s, the medical community believed hormonal imbalances caused obesity. However, after World War II, the perception of obesity shifted towards it being an eating disorder. This change was primarily due to the rise in heart disease cases, which was plausibly linked to fatty diets. The belief that fat makes us fat was born, leading to doctors and public health authorities warning individuals about the consequences of fatty diets. Unfortunately, this flawed logic became ingrained in society's thinking, influencing the medical community and even future generations of medical students. Despite the evidence against this paradigm, it has remained the basis of medical opinion, leading to an ineffective recommendation of eating less fat to lose weight. The result has been people getting fatter over time, while heart disease cases continue to rise. It is time to question this pervasive belief and seek a new understanding of the underlying causes of obesity. Beyond exercise and diet. Unhealthy eating and sedentary behavior are not the sole culprits of weight gain. Instead, hormonal imbalances may play a significant role. Excess fatty tissue triggers hunger and lethargy, making weight management challenging. Physical activity may also increase appetite, making weight loss difficult. A study on physically active Mexican immigrants illustrates that exercise and low-calorie diets are not always effective in combating obesity. More than diet and exercise, it is the kind of food we consume that leads to weight problems. In the following sections, the book delves into how carbohydrates affect our weight. Insulin and carbohydrates. Our body's response to carbohydrates is the hormone insulin. Insulin is responsible for recycling the nutrients that provide us with energy, carbs, fats, and proteins. The hormone facilitates the transfer of energy into the muscle tissue, where it is burned. Simultaneously, it stimulates the fatty tissue to store excess energy. When we eat carbs, our bodies tend to burn the energy immediately. The amount of insulin provided depends on the carbs absorbed. The higher the amount of insulin, the stronger the body is stimulated to form fatty deposits. Thus, insulin makes us fat, and carbohydrates control insulin production. Therefore, carbohydrates hold significant influence on the mechanism that regulates the accumulation of fat in our bodies. Understanding obesity. When we think of growth, we often associate it with processes controlled by hormones. This is true for tumors and the growth of fat cells in overweight individuals. The hormone insulin plays a crucial role in the formation of fat deposits. When our bodies respond to high blood sugar levels by producing excessive insulin, it impairs the growth of fat cells, making us feel hungrier and more lethargic. Contrary to popular belief, being overweight is a biological growth process, and not caused by gluttony or laziness. Those who are overweight should be understood as having a growth disorder, and not a nutritional disorder. The evolution of our eating habits. Our bodies are not adapted to the abundance of carbohydrates in our modern diets, which are a relatively new addition to human consumption. Humans are creatures of habit when it comes to food, adapting to the nutrients present in their diets over time. Carbohydrates, which make up a significant portion of our current consumption, are a relatively new addition to human diets. While humans have been on Earth for millions of years, the consumption of flour only began 12,000 years ago with the rise of agriculture. White flour and sugar only became popular in the 19th century. The era of carbohydrate-rich food is a mere blip in human history, ruling out the possibility of genetic adaptation to these quickly digestible carbohydrates in such a short period of time. Our ancestors, who were hunters and gatherers, preferred fatty meats to quell their hunger. Some present-day hunting and gathering cultures, isolated from modern civilization, subsist mainly on meat and fish, with some not consuming any vegetables, fruits, or grains. This diet is the opposite of the modern Western diet, where carbohydrates make up 2/3 of consumption. Health experts blaming Western lifestyles for obesity often overlook the fact that carbohydrates have not traditionally played a significant role in people's diets until very recently. Our bodies cannot process the abundance of modern carbohydrates, which are a relatively new addition to our diet. Carbohydrates, the silent killer. Our body's metabolism is largely influenced by what we eat. Consuming high-carb foods over a long period of time can disrupt the insulin signaling function, leading to an oversupply of insulin. This imbalance results in fat deposits and higher susceptibility to diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure. The likelihood of contracting these diseases among immigrant groups increases significantly after being exposed to Western foods. By targeting the specific cause, carbohydrates, we can address the problem. Ancestors and isolated indigenous peoples who rarely consumed carbohydrates didn't suffer from these Western diseases, indicating that carbohydrates are the culprit. Therefore, reducing carbohydrate intake could help prevent these diseases and avoid the associated health risks. The downfall of low-calorie diets. Low-calorie diets may help in shedding some pounds in the short term but have long-term side effects. Such diets deprive our bodies of necessary nutrients linked to our well-being, while natural metabolism counteracts instant weight loss. Body weight is a complex balance of many factors besides our diets, such as lifestyle and biological mechanisms. Therefore, diets solely focused on caloric counts do more harm than good, leading to a yo-yo effect that results in muscle loss instead of fat. Counterproductively, they also have adverse effects on our well-being. Rather than subscribing to a short-lived solution, a healthier approach would be to consider a sustainable lifestyle change that includes healthy eating habits and exercises tailored to our needs and limitations. The science behind weight gain. This book delves into the science of how our bodies gain weight. Genetics play a significant role in determining if, when, and where we store fat. Consuming fewer carbohydrates can indirectly combat fat storage, but it's imperative to consider how sensitive we are to carbohydrates and insulin. The longer and more intense our exposure to high levels of insulin, the more resistant our muscle becomes towards insulin, inhibiting our bodies from burning energy. This leads to insulin resistance, which usually increases with age, making older people more susceptible to being overweight. The book dispels the myth that a slowing metabolism causes weight gain, as it's the overconsumption of high-carbohydrate diets that boost insulin resistance. The book highlights that a combination of genetics, age, and nutrition influences the likelihood of being overweight and offers tips to combat it. The truth about low-carb diets. Doctors' assumptions about low-carb diets are flawed, as meat and vegetables can replace carbohydrates. Diabetes and obesity were unknown to those who did not consume flour and sugar. Carbohydrates, not fat, make us fat, and low-carb diets are unfairly stigmatized. Carbohydrates have long been demonized as culprits of overweight and heart disease, but such an oversimplification ignores the complexities of diet and health. Doctors and nutritionists caution against low-carb diets, arguing that they can lead to nutritional deficiencies and weight gain. However, these concerns stem from fundamental misconceptions. Firstly, the belief that energy intake must be less than energy output to lose weight is based on outdated calorie counting. It is more crucial to focus on the quality and type of calories consumed, rather than simply the number. Secondly, vegetables can replace carbohydrates as a source of essential nutrients, rendering carbohydrates unnecessary. Lastly, the link between high-fat diets and heart disease is unfounded, as diabetes and obesity only emerged with the introduction of sugar and flour into our diets. The stigma surrounding low-carb diets is harmful and baseless. Rich sources of protein, such as meat, fish, and eggs, can provide all the necessary nutrients when consumed in moderation. By rejecting the flawed assumptions surrounding low-carb diets, we can begin to eat healthily and nourish our bodies for optimal wellness. Winning the battle against fat. Eliminate distressing carbohydrates. The formation of fat deposits can only be prevented, and excess energy can only be released from the body's fat tissues when we have moderate insulin levels. Since insulin levels are determined by carbohydrates consumption, it is essential to maintain a low carbohydrate intake. Nonetheless, various carbohydrates differ in their effect on our blood sugar and insulin levels. It can be assumed that sweeter carbohydrates have a greater inclination to cause fat accumulation. Some carbohydrates, such as sweets, cause glucose levels to skyrocket when they enter the bloodstream. Others like cereal products, starchy foods, and alcoholic and sugar-containing drinks are ideal sources of energy. However, the majority of carbohydrates found in vegetables are linked to indigestible fibers that have a lesser impact on blood sugar and insulin release. In addition to preventing the formation of fat deposits, by removing quick carbohydrates from our daily diet, we also force the release of already existing fats that are transformed into energy. An extreme abstinence from carbohydrates is not necessary for everyone, but people who are overweight or gain weight quickly can effortlessly lose weight by avoiding carbs. To lose weight or maintain a toned body, we must give up about carbohydrates.
In conclusion, Why We Get Fat, and What to Do About It, is a powerful examination of the misconceptions surrounding obesity and its causes. By systematically dismantling popular diet myths and misconceptions, Taubes illuminates the role carbohydrates and insulin play in weight gain and disease risk. Instead of counting calories or demonizing fats, the book encourages readers to adopt a low-carb lifestyle that works in harmony with their individual genetic makeup, age, and metabolism, paving the way for sustainable weight loss and long-term health. Shed the guilt and embrace a new understanding of weight management that is grounded in science and more effective than extreme diets.